Conceal carry, big topic. Should I carry with a round in the chamber, or should I just leave them all in the mag and wait for something to happen and react appropriately? Let's talk about it. So I posted a poll on my community story, whatever you call it on YouTube, yesterday asking, hey, do you carry with one in the chamber or do you carry without one in the chamber? And I can see by the comments that people have some very strong emotions. They're very vested in their opinion, and that's fine. Whether I agree or not is irrelevant. I just kind of want to go over some common misconceptions with carrying with one in the chamber. So before we get started, before you get upset, I am not saying this is what you should do. You have to do this. If you don't, you're an idiot. I'm not saying that. You're not an idiot. You're doing what's comfortable for you if you choose not to, and you're doing what's comfortable for you if you choose to carry with one in the chamber. So keep doing you. I'm just going to throw some things out there, try to debunk a few common misconceptions, and maybe I'll change your mind, maybe I won't, but we'll get into it. I just want to let you guys know that I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not trying to call you stupid or you're an idiot or anything like that. I just want to go over a few things, and if you disagree, hey, go ahead in the comments and just let me know your thoughts on the matter. I'm not trying to start an argument, but healthy dialogue is good, because that way, people who are watching this video, if you have points that are differing than mine, put them down in those comments. That way other people can see them, and they can, take what I'm saying for what it's worth. They can take for what you're saying for what it's worth, and they'll meet somewhere in the middle and form their own opinion. So let's just dive into it. So point number one, it's unsafe. So there's many reasons people feel it's unsafe. They're like, oh, the gun could go off, I don't have a manual safety, I appendix carry and I don't want to shoot myself in my femoral artery or the boys. Okay, so let's just use Glock for example. They haven't had external safeties on their handguns since their introduction. So can you add aftermarket manual safeties? Yes. However, they don't come with an external safety on them. You know what your safety is? Your booger picker. Keep it off the trigger. Now, with that is also using a quality holster and having training. So nothing will replace training. So if it's unsafe, it's not that the handgun is unsafe, it's you're probably being unsafe, or you're not trained to handle the weapon in such a way to where it is safe. The handgun itself isn't going to just go off. I have many handguns without manual safeties, external manual safeties, and I have handguns with external safeties. I prefer ones without, because when it comes to a concealed carry defensive situation, that's just one less thing that my brain has to think about doing in order to react to someone trying to hurt me, my family, and potentially take our lives. Now, training. You have to be proficient in what you're doing. If you're concealed carrying, you owe it to yourself to be a trained professional. It's not just doing an 8-hour course, getting your permit, and I'm the baddest dude out there, come at me. No, it's lifelong. Skills are perishable. There is a such thing as muscle memory, but that's with continued training, continued exercises, continued range time. You have to be proficient with the firearm that you're carrying. You have to be proficient in the manner in which you're carrying, whether that's appendix, strong side, open carry, shoulder holsters, whatever. You have to be proficient. The only thing that's unsafe in your argument is you. The weapons aren't unsafe. I can walk around all day with a Glock in my hand. It's not just going to go off. It's just not. There's been many tests. They've been dropped, thrown, kicked. They don't go off. The only thing that's going to make it go off is you. Whether you're putting your finger where it shouldn't be, you're holstering it incorrectly, you have a holster that is maybe made out of a cheaper leather material or some other subpar material that somehow bends and deforms and gets into that trigger guard and presses the trigger and makes it go off. So guys, the weapons aren't unsafe. Unsafe weapons handling practices, and you are the only reasons it would be unsafe. A weapon isn't just going to go off. I can load a Glock, put one in the magazine, set it on a kitchen table, never touch it. Guess what? It's not going to go off. So the weapon isn't unsafe. That's not the problem. The problem may lie somewhere within, or the equipment that you're using in combination with that weapon. So just think about that. Training. I'm not the best guy out there. Am I like the handgun expert of the world? Absolutely not. But that's why you continuously go out and shoot. You practice drawing from the appendix carry, strong carry, however you carry. You practice those motions. I showed you that video of battle drills. That was with a battle belt, but it's the same thing in your carry situations. I'll throw my appendix holster in, and I'll just literally draw in my room, watching a TV show, and just practice drawing, repetitions, and then reholstering. A lot of issues happen when people reholster, which is kind of the opposite of what should happen, because you have all the time in the world. If you're reholstering, that means every threat that has presented itself is gone, is diminished. So you have all the time in the world to reholster. Pay attention to what you're doing. Finger straighten off the trigger, put the weapon back. We're all good. All right. Point number 2. I got these written down so I don't get off track, because I start going on rants. All right. Point number 2. It's illegal to carry with one in the chamber. It's not. Now all right, so let me just not say it's not. So 99.8% of the areas, it's not illegal to carry with one in the chamber. There may be some municipalities in the lovely state of California that will argue that it is in certain instances. So obviously pay attention to all your local laws. But for the overwhelming majority of us, it is not illegal to carry with one in the chamber. Again, pay attention when you're doing your CCW classes. Ask the hard questions. Get with your local sheriff's department, county police, and just look up the laws and know what is applicable to you in your area. It is not illegal for the vast majority of us. Now, if you're in one of those weird, just county code in, X town in California, and that's their law, then that's their law, I guess. But that doesn't apply to the overwhelming majority of us. It is not illegal to carry with one in the chamber. Point 3. It gives me time to make a good decision. So I have time to draw, think about what I'm doing, rack back the slide, and then I can, engage that threat. You don't have the time. 1, you don't have the time. 2, if you're drawing anyway, you've already made the decision that threat was enough to warrant you pulling out your handgun, because otherwise you're just brandishing for no reason at all without an actual threat present to you. So you don't need that extra time. You've already made the conscious decision that I feel threatened, I'm in fear for my life, I need to pull out my handgun and defend my life, my family's lives, or innocent bystander's life. You've already made that decision. This just adds extra time that you don't have. And I encourage you to look up the stats on how long it takes for a threat to overcome you. Many of these situations happen in less than 3 seconds. Now, is 3 seconds a long time? Kinda, yeah. Is it plenty of time for you to draw, rack back the slide, and engage? Yes. If you train to that, you constantly are at the range and you're practicing that drill. You're drawing, you're racking, and you're engaging, and you're accurate, putting rounds on target. A lot of people don't do that. They make these rules for themselves, and they don't train to that. So if you're training to that standard and you feel more comfortable that way, by all means do it. But a lot of people aren't doing that. They're just saying, yeah, it'll buy me some time to make a conscious decision. But then they don't go out to the range and actually practice drawing, racking that slide back, and putting rounds down range accurately. So just some things to think about. Don't just go into it thinking, yeah, it'll give me time to get some clarity. You've already made that decision. Once you started even reaching for your handgun, you've made the decision that something bad will happen if you don't do it. So you don't need any more time. Your brain has already made that distinction. You don't want to waste any more time. If your brain's made that distinction, you need to eliminate that threat and get rid of it and save yourself. All right, number 4. I'll have time to chamber around when that threat presents itself. So it kind of ties into point 3 where it says it gives me time to think and make a good decision. So I'll have time to chamber around. So think about this. If you're in an altercation with someone and they're coming at you and you still have to draw your weapon, rack back the slide, and then engage that person. Now think about that motion. You're pulling, racking. That's both your hands. It takes both your hands to do that. Now maybe if you have, tall suppressor height sights or an optic, you can wedge it against something and rack it with one hand. But do you really think when your adrenaline's pumping, your mind is going 1,000 miles a minute, that your dexterity starts to, you start to lose dexterity, fine motor skills? I don't know if a lot of you have experienced it. If you've been in stressful, life-threatening scenarios and situations where you have to, 1, apply medical aid, or 2, defend yourself, you start to lose basic motor functions in your limbs. They're the first to go because all that blood and energy is rushing to your core, to your brain, to all the vitals. So you start losing blood from all the things that your body doesn't think are important at that time, because everything that's important is centrally located here, not here. So if someone's in your face, they are presenting a threat to you. If someone is 100 yards away, you're probably not drawing your weapon because they're not really a threat. They're a ways away from you. So the threats are usually right here. And there's a reason why when you go to conceal carry courses, your target engagement is from like 3 to 7 yards, which is nothing. Somebody could be on top of you like that. So to have 2 hands to do something, that person's not on pause. It's not a video game. They're not waiting for you to do it. It's not like one of those bad kung fu movies where there's like 30 guys standing around waiting to come at you one at a time. Like, no, the dude's coming at you. And obviously you felt like he was a big enough threat or she was a big enough threat because you're drawing your weapon. So now you're taking your other hand, which you could be using to create some standoff, create some distance, protect yourself. Now you're taking that away because you have to put it on your slide and rack that slide back in order to even get in the fight. So you're not always going to have the time. I know it seems like you will. In a perfect world, you've created the scenario that you're the baddest dude out there. And I get it, man. If you be a bad mofo, but you have to train to that. If you're not training to that and you're just relying on like, I'll know what to do in the moment, you're not. You're going to get flooded with emotion, adrenaline, and you're just going to be out of your freaking mind because you don't train to that scenario. So you need to constantly be practicing drawing, racking, shooting, or drawing and figuring out how to rack with one hand, so that way you can still have some defensive, posturing about yourself. Because that person's not just going to stand there and wait for you to shoot them. It's not. If I saw someone drawing, my first instinct is to close that gap and stop him from presenting that weapon and putting 2 in my chest. All right, number 5. I only chamber when I know I'm going somewhere unsafe or dangerous. This one's crazy. If you know some place is unsafe and dangerous, why would you even be going there? You would avoid that place at all costs. I don't know. So, and I don't know. What's to say that your local freaking Lowe's Foods or freaking, I don't know, Michael's Craft Store, like those places aren't historically known to be full of badasses who are trying to harm people, but what's considered dangerous? Like, these places aren't just marked off. Obviously, we know some places are more dangerous than others at certain times of the day, blah, blah, blah. But the point is if you recognize that danger could be a threat and you want to have one in a chamber to protect yourself more appropriately, then why wouldn't you practice that everywhere at all times? Because the bad guys don't work on a schedule. Like that, you know, oh, there it is, 8 p.m. time to clock in. Got to get these 12 hours in before 8 a.m. Like, no, man, it doesn't work that way. You know, crime happens in good neighborhoods, bad neighborhoods, high-end retail stores, Walmart, whatever. You cannot predict when, where, and how something is going to happen. The best thing you can do and the best way to stay protected is to be ready at any time and practice to that, train to that. Now, I don't know. You guys could take these points for what they're worth. That's the 5 major things that I usually see when people try to justify why they don't carry with one in the chamber, and that's fine. Look, if you've heard everything I've said and you're like, yeah, those are some good points, I'm still not carrying with one in the chamber. That's fine. I respect you, because at the end of the day, as long as you're carrying, you're practicing your Second Amendment rights, you're doing what you need to do. I mean, at least it's not at home. At least it's not in the car. I mean, you have a chance to defend yourself. You have a chance to try and eliminate that threat. Do I think your chances are a little bit decreased versus someone who has one in a chamber? Absolutely. Because whether it's a half a second, a full second, that's still time that you can't get back. That's still time that, you know, you could have been engaging that enemy. Take it for what it's worth. At the end of the day, the only person who can make the best decision for you is you. So I would just encourage you to, no matter what your practices are, whether you carry with one in the chamber or out of the chamber, just train to that. So if you feel more comfortable carrying with a round in the chamber, train to that, practice your draws, keep that standard. If you feel more comfortable leaving all your rounds in the mag and racking it when the threat presents itself, then train to that and do what you need to do. And I wish you guys the best of luck. So that's all I got for today, guys. If you have differing opinions, you have anything you want to add, go ahead and drop them down in those comments. Look at the description, the video description. I've got a bunch of links in there. So those links are just some common things that you guys might be interested in buying. They are affiliate links. What does that mean? That means it doesn't cost you guys anything to shop there, but I'll get a percentage of those sales, and it's not a lot. It's like a couple dollars. So, you know, help me out. I keep making videos, keep trying to do cool stuff for you guys, and I appreciate every single one of you. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Have a good day, guys.